So I'm Sheila Sampson. I'm the program manager of project management in Regenesys. And today I welcome each one of you all. And I see all the participants joining in. So I would like to give 1 or 2 minutes for everyone to join. And then let's go ahead and today look at certain dynamic aspects of project management. And right now we are all AI empowered. So how project management can be considered with this transformation? And especially we will look into the planning, execution. We will look into the overview about the project management and how AI can also support. So welcome each one of you all for this session. And we will be having this session for an hour's time. And today our focus is on understanding these aspects of how project management can help in transforming uh, planning, execution, and delivery of projects. So I would like quickly also talk to you about Regenesis Group because that is where the core start begins. And this was founded in 1998 by Dr. Marco, Dr. Penny, and now Dr. William Vivian. And their whole purpose was to make the world a better place. So the approach is quite different, and they want every individual to be holistically uh, transformed. And that can happen only when we realize that we need to be intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically stable. So these IQs that we have should be improved, or it has to be empowered. And to give this, to provide this comprehensive services, we have brought in a lot of uh, research into it and wanted to see how well we can cater to the needs of all the new generation that is coming up. So for this, we have created an integrated model to help everybody realize that as an individual, you, me, and everyone who is part of this corporate world are the core and very important personalities. And we need to drive ourselves into understanding that as an individual, we make the whole difference. So, how are we going to do this? We have to be empowered. And when we are motivated and when we are physically fit, mentally very agile, emotionally ready for any stress, and also spiritually, we believe that there is a higher power which helps us in controlling it. So when we understand these IQs, then we try to strive to become that motivating factor to lead. So this, like a ripple effect, would affect the team, and the team would bring in that unity and the team spirit among all of us. So when you are motivated, you motivate others, and that is an inspiration. And with that inspiration, the performance grows. So there is a relationship. So we get into a high performing mode, and that in turn would help the institution to grow. So there is a purpose. We have certain purpose to drive. Why are we looking into all of these? Because we would like to contribute. We would like to work on and see that we contribute to the society as such. So that is the reason we look forward for it. And how can we do that as an institution when we are trying to contribute as an individual and a team, the institution automatically will grow. And then the people, the structure, system, culture, everything would automatically respond to it. And it all starts with one, you and me. So with this in our mind, let's begin our session. And when our the industries work, there is this very intricate relationship between us, the team, institution, and then the external world. So this would happen only as an individual we strive. So how we are going to align this to uh, the organizational strategy structure is something that we have to creatively do it. We have to consciously work on it and try to release how we are going to work. So for that, there are certain graduate attributes that have been uh, uh, researched and that have been worked. So here, as an individual, how are you going to be motivated? How are you going to be leading consciously? So for this, we are going to uh, consciously work on trying to be how we can think differently and where we are going to build this attitude of being a visionary, being innovative, and being purpose driven. So you need to bring out all of these things in from within, awaken that potential from within. So how we are going to add this harnessing the diversity as well? Like we as individuals are all different, and we need the uh, that intonation of how collaborative we can work on and how we are going to uh, really manage to uh, make a difference in our attitude. So we try to be inspiring, confident, deliberate, and try to be determined on these aspects. So, to start off this new journey, I encourage you all who have joined uh, to be part of this program, to grow along with us, to bring in this new uh, changes of thinking differently, leading consciously as leaders. If you are wanting to bring in a change, how you're going to lead that consciousness, then harnessing the diversity and always being professional and having a global outlook. This is one of the critical things of an AI world wherein we have to be adaptable. And many of us are a little, uh, we can, maybe we shouldn't say scared, but not sure about how the world is going to be. No one can predict like in next 200 days what's going to happen. So as global citizens, how are we going to contribute, right? How are we going to understand the local realities and then operate in that borderless world is something that we need to derive ourselves. So that comes with having this global outlook, have a ground decisions in evidence, have the being well informed, knowledgeable is something that can help in working out. So let's quickly look into how we are going to uh, utilize these graduate attributes. So for us to develop as professionals, we have this lot of professional courses that we have designed so that it caters to all the needs of the development for requirement of every profession. So we have introductory courses and advanced courses in which, apart from project management, we have other technical courses as well, like data science, artificial intelligence, cyber security, digital marketing, design thinking, project management. So various according to the needs of the current market. And you can explore all of them. But out of that, project management is said to be as one of those life skills. Even if you are not ready to start off with any project management company, or you're not right now working on any projects, but still these skills would take you to places. So project management is something that we would love to see it. So, as we are being virtually uh, in different places, I hope you are all comfortably seated and in a quiet place so that you have an open mind in receiving whatever that we speak. And you can utilize the chat to ask questions and always try to. I think your mics are muted, your cameras are off, but please. Uh, you can chat and we can have the Q&A later as we go ahead. So understand projects, I would just like to quickly define what project is. and why we have to manage them. Why is there so much of criticality in understanding it? And so we would like to see how these projects are dynamic, and uh, how are we going to uh, manage them effectively. So project is said to be as a temporary endeavor. I'm sure many of you all understand the challenges in projects because they are always unique and they are temporary. Unique in the sense, even if you're working in projects for quite a long time, whenever you start a project, it is a new one. You have new clientele, you have new expectations, you have new uh, uh, maybe models or designs. The timelines have changed, so everything, the dynamism is so very different. So it requires resources, however they are limited, and how we can manage with that limited resources is something that we need to understand. So every project, since it's unique, it is temporary, it has a start date and an end date. And within that given resources, they have to bring in that wow effect to the stakeholders. So, how are we going to bring this wow effect? The stakeholders' expectations are something that we need to create and bring in uh, that kind of satisfaction. So, we have to prepare ourselves well. So that is the reason we have to manage the project. So every project manager or a leader who guides this project should they need to have uh, these skills so that they can manage them. Now the role of every project manager is going to be a very significant one, wherein it brings in transformation of from many decades as well. So now in 2025, it's less of managing the Gantt charts or working in isolation, and it's more about how adaptive are we going to be? How are we going to bring in the change? How are we going to leverage the technology? How are we going to deliver those strategic values in these very complicated and unpredictable environment? So this is something that we need to understand. That is the reason we bring in this session for you all to understand the dynamism of projects. So projects, as we are saying that they are temporary, they also need to be managed effectively because there is dynamism in it, and there are certain things that we need to clearly understand as project managers. So it's an art, and it's how we are going to lead, and the resources that we have. It could be human resources as well, and as we understand, uh, human resources are very challenging. uh, Everyone has their own expertise and they would like to prove that they know everything. But as project managers, how are we going to bring them together? And all are experts, well experienced, coming from different fields. But in that short period of time, they all have to be synergized, bringing together, harnessing the diversity, and then we bring out those outputs that are needed. So it should be well planned, and everything that is happening should be well known to the project manager. So is it possible for every project manager to understand everything that is happening? There are people who should be assisting them, and the work has to be delegated to them accordingly. So that is the reason project management is said to be as a very planned undertaking, and it is involved. It involves a lot of huge investments, and because of that it is also crucial, because if you're losing your investment, then sometimes you're completely down, you're gone. So that huge investment has to be very properly planned. So to manage this, now we have the PMBOK guidelines. This is said to be as project management body of knowledge, wherein it talks about the terminology, concepts, and guidelines, how projects have to be managed. It is all said to be as a common purpose of standardizing. So it's a common library wherein it gives all the information of for a project manager of the project, how it has to be performed. So every detail is documented in this book. So that is a reason this is sometimes referred to as a Bible of project management. So it is authored by the PMI, very well-known institute, but yeah, they have brought in this common terminology so that even a person sitting in China, a person sitting in Africa, or a person in UK, India, everybody will have the same language. They speak the same language. They understand what Gantt chart is. They understand what a fishbone diagram is. They understand risk uh, uh, methodologies. They understand how the project life cycle is. So these are certain terminologies that we are using, and that is coming out from the PMBOK. Right now, we have the 7th edition, which is running, and it would be updated as quick as possible because of the AI inferences. A project depends on these three constraints: the cost, time, quality, and scope is part of it. So here, when we're talking about project, this is said to be as an iron triangle, wherein when a project is working, it should be in working with this cost, scope, time, and quality. Every project should be working within the scope. They cannot go beyond it, and they should not go beyond it because their project will become a failure. So how we work on and how we are going to bring in the technology is something that we need to build. So this is how we are going to uh, function in the project based on the costs. Every project will have certain budget. Every project will have certain time, and every project will have certain quality that have to maintain. So that is the reason this iron triangle is said to be as the guide which helps and supports us in building this project and make it a success. Projects have to be successful. That is the main intention why we are managing projects. So how are we going to work on this? Have a framework, okay, to work on and be in this triangle wherein there is time, cost, and quality that has to be maintained. We have to work within the scope. And when we are working in the scope, what are the things that have to be more intentionally more focused on? So we have quickly derived some 9 knowledge areas. The 10th one is said to be as a shareholders expectation, which has been included in the framework, wherein we talk about scope management, time management, cost management, quality, the human resource, communication, risk management, procure management. So all of these core functions have to be addressed. And on top of that, we have to integrate them. How we are going to manage this project by integrating all of these knowledge areas. So this is where our focus on working on and developing a project would be reliable on. So these stakeholders that we are talking about, their needs and expectations have to be met. Only then the project can become a successful project. So we have a portfolio of projects, and the portfolio will have different projects. Out of that different projects, all the related ones will form, and together they become a program. And different programs will work out on the portfolio. So this is the framework of project management. Now, as project managers, the 10 best skills that we should be having, because if a project has to be successful or if a project is a failure, it all depends on the project manager. So even if it is going to be successful or it is going to be a failure, the responsibility lies on the project manager. So the project manager should have certain skills, very important skills. And I'm afraid because of the lack of time and the number of participants that you are in, we are not in dialogue. We are not talking, but then let's put across in the chat on understanding what are the qualities of this project manager. So we say that the project manager should have the knowledge of project management methodologies, should have good leadership skills. So in our sessions, when we are talking about these skills, we talk in depth about what different types of leadership skills are there. So the laissez-faire, the situational leader, the authoritative leader, the aristocratic leader. So what skills are those? And as a project manager, what kind of skills should he or she have? So we will discuss on this project leadership skills. Then about project planning. Planning is said to be very crucial. Sometimes there are certain projects wherein the planning itself has taken a few years, like 10 years, uh, which has gone into planning on a project. So this project planning is crucial for a project to become successful or a project to be fail. And every project manager should have good communication skills as well. So the project manager should be communicative. uh, he or she can be transparent, or they can also keep uh, a particular way on how, or procedure on how, what kind of communication can be done. Is it through email, is it through phone call or WhatsApp or any social media that can be accepted, that has to be agreed, and how often we are going to talk. So all of this we will be working on a scientific way, how we can prove that these are the communication skills which help a project to become successful. Then we will talk about project scheduling as well, like what are the timings, when, how, who will do it. So all of these questions would be dealt. Then a project manager should have good negotiation skills as well, because that is the time when, since he or she would be handling many people around, like the employees and the suppliers. So that uh, aspect of negotiating skill should definitely reduce the cost of the project, and in turn it helps in the profitability of the project. So scoping, project scoping, then organizational skills, how we are going to manage the dynamism of the organizational expectations. Then forecasting, because projects, the future is unknown and it's risky. So need to focus on what is expected and how it can be achieved. Then he or she should also have good interpersonal skills. So these are crucial so that we create a bond in the project, like working together as one team, as a family. And because there are a lot of pressures, there's a lot of tension in projects, and how we are going to manage them is something that is unique and should be addressed. So these are certain things that we can really go in depth when we are talking about projects later. So what are the key elements that we are going to understand when we relate? So every project that is taken up should also be related to the organizational's goal. So we need to understand where, before we take a decision, where is your business currently and where do you want to take it? How can you do it? Like, what is the strategy that we need so that we can implement to get there? And how can the project management especially can help us? Like when you're taking up projects, you how much are you going to do so that you are also being contributing towards the strategic goals that the organization has. So these are some few questions that need to be asked even before we think about a project, or even if you are thinking how projects can be changed. These are some aspects that needs to be addressed. So we said projects are of a short term, or they are time bound. All right. So it is not really short. They can be like for 10, 15 years as well, but they are time bound. So if you give an agreement that the project would be completed in 6 or 7 days, so years, that is the time, that limit that you have given, and you have to adhere to that timelines. So understanding project management life cycle would help us to give a better understanding at what stage, where are we, and what how are we going to react. So project initiation is something that would begin, and it will start the project. Then in the initiation stage, we are going to work on to understand what projects, whether they are feasible or not. So we will work on the project, identify which project we have, and how we are going to uh, address them. So we have to build a business case to it, and then try to convince. So there's a charter that we has to be prepared and really work on it. So the after the initiation, you are going to be certain that yes, the project would be successful, and every project that we start should be profitable. Otherwise there is no uh, really no meaning to we working on the project, because ultimately we are looking for profits. We would need money, and without money there is no uh, I think there's no motivation at all. So to build projects, this is the first initial stage wherein we bring out that feasibility. Can we do it? How are we going to do it? Do we have those resources? And who is going to sponsor it? So we are going to build that case. And with that case, we address this. And once this initiation is done, then the project has to be planned well. We have come to a stage wherein we are convinced and we are saying, yes, this project can be done. So now let's do the planning and see what planning has to be done and how it has to be. Once the plan, I said, like planning can go a little longer as well. So when it uh, is completed, it's time for execution. So how we are going to execute it, and this is said to be as the longest time period, because whatever we have planned, whatever we have initiated, this is the time that you are going to execute it. So during execution, or even right from planning itself, the project manager's responsibility is delegation, of course. So once it is delegated, it doesn't mean that the project manager has no more responsibility, but he or she should be monitoring the whole process of whether they are holding on to it or not, and how it can be uh, streamlined in case if the funds are going astray, like how we are going to streamline them. And controlling, this word is really strong, we don't like it, but then project control is very much necessary. As a project leader, we need to see if everything is in control. If it is not in control, then how we are going to, we have to stop the project and then rework on how we are going to address things that are expected, and the timelines and everything has to be properly, clearly understood. And then comes the closure. Closure is also a very comprehensive procedure, which needs to be, until and unless the project is closed, we cannot rely, or we cannot say that the project is completed. So documentation is really important, because there will be a lot of conflicts, there will be a lot of misunderstanding. Until and unless the documents are documented, we will have challenges. And this documentation should start right from the beginning. That's at the initiation stage. And then keep working on, and all of this project completion, everything has to be monitored. So everyone, uh, this is something that has to be imprinted in our mind about this life cycle. Like at what stage are we in, and in this stage what have we derived, and are they completed or not, have to be cross-checked. So certain documents that you see here, uh, at the initiation stage, there is a business case, and there is a portfolio, the project complexities and the values. All of these are said to be a certain tools which help and support in finalizing. And understanding that the project is uh, it can be handled. So at the initial stage, slowly, once you build up this case study or the business case, now you build the charter, and then uh, we will try to analyze who are those stakeholders that would help, that would be a part of the project. And so we make a RASI matrix. These are certain things that you would study when you are enrolled and when you are part of the project. And then we plan. There is a budget to it. There is a quality risk involved. Everything has to be noted down. Every work has to be outlined clearly, and understand what the project is expecting and how much does it cost. Are there any obstacles that are there? Everything has to be planned well. And then comes the execution, wherein we talk about the status report, change request. There are many other documents that are prepared during the execution phase, wherein it ensures that all the work is being completed and everything is lined up and managed well. Then the closure also happens. So in closure, we create this lessons plan learn. It's crucial of discussing the lessons learned, because we will not commit them later on in the new coming projects. So being honest and understanding the difficulties of the project and then learning the lesson can build you up. Now, in one of those graduate attributes, we saw how a, a manager should respond, and given those situations, still we have to go on. That is the sustainability, and how we go on is something that we will learn. So that is the reason we have this lessons learned as well. And all of this can be done. Everything cannot be worked on individually. So there are certain tools that are required to do it. So AI is one of the tools, of course, wherein we bring in different methodologies on how we can work, and then how we are going to do the forecasting. So many aspects would be discussed in detail. Now, this is the overview that I'm giving you to understand what the program exactly handles. So the tools that are popularly used, which now you can also use along with AI, it is the Gantt chart, the WBS chart, the network diagram, Kanban board, risk matrix, time shields, dashboards. All of these are different tools which help and support us to uh, perform these project activities efficiently. So the big work breakdown structure, if you see, it is the work is divided into different units, and under them there are people who are responsible to it, and what are the functions that each and every uh, division has. So at the initiation stage, it's more on evaluation and charter, understanding who are being part of the project, and all of those can be addressed at the initiation stage. And then when it comes to planning, we have scope statement, project team, plan, schedule, and budget. So these are certain functions. When we segregate this, the work breakdown structure, so it has clearly been reflected on how we are going to work. So the next is execution, then control, and close out. So this is how a work breakdown structure looks. Then this is said to be as a Gantt chart. All right, these are some tools that I wanted you all to understand. And in the sessions, like since I'm giving an overview, I will just brush top up and then move. But the main uh, process can happen when we are part of the classroom. So this is a Gantt chart, wherein based on the uh, work breakdown structure, based on the schedule that they build, then we build a Gantt chart. And in this Gantt chart, we clearly define when we are going to start and when it is going to end. and what is the duration that is required. So accordingly, there is a pictorial representation done, and this is how they reflect and see what job comes next and next. Sometimes the jobs can be overlapping, so the resources can be added more to this kind of a process. So this is about Gantt chart, and then comes the network diagram, and this is also a graphical diagram, but it has its nodes and arrows which help and support. So when we take a project, initially that is a specification, and later on when it is formalized, now there are different steps that are needed for a project, and accordingly these steps have to be followed, monitored about what different functions, how long will it take, what are the documents that are required, and all of this. So we build a diagram out of it. So, and based on this diagram, we also work on critical path method. So critical path method is the longest way for completion of a project. So that is why where we call it as a critical path method, and identify. So here in this diagram, you see that there are almost like three ways of completing the program. So it can start from the beginning and run through the whole project. And sometimes they are formally uh, available. So they that could not be a critical path. So that all the tasks that are performed would be clearly specified. This would help us in to understand within what time are we going to finish the project, and that has to be clearly uh, reflected. Then we have the Kanban board. So this is a visual method, and mostly this is used in agile methodologies. The reason being there are changes that keep happening. So every or maybe uh, quite regularly, this has to be updated, the Kanban board, to understand what could be the backlogs, what currently we are doing, and then reviewing, and then it is done. So this board will update the whole process and in what stage it is, so that that will have a good track record. So this is said to be as a Kanban visual method. Then we also would discuss about risk, uh, how we are going to do risk analysis. So having a strategic thinking about how we would be working on would definitely help. Now AI can build this kind of a risk matrix, this kind of a risk matrix, so that we understand like what kind of risk and how often can they be mindful of. So initially it would be identifying the risk, then we analyze the risk, whether it is the impact is too much or how it is going to respond, because the risk is created only for things that are in the future. So how we are going to develop them, prioritize, and then see that the project is successful. So here in this matrix, we see high, low, the impact and likelihood of it happening, that can create a proper idea of how we can manage risk. If the risk is high and the probability is also high, then it is like high impact and high likelihood, which may which has to be prepared. So we need to be prepared for this high impact and high likelihood risk that might occur. But when it comes to low impact and low likelihood, then it would be ignored. It's ignorable if it happens, even then if it is not really affecting the project, then we can ignore rather than waiting and losing our precious resources. Then we come to the monitoring and reporting, wherein every project has to be monitored, and it there are certain processes that have to be followed by every project manager so that it avoids certain risks and confusions. So setting up objectives, choosing tools, analyzing the data, take action. So clearly all of them are segregated and divided. So how many uh, are required to work on it? Maybe around uh, 8 employees or 9 employees. Then we have stakeholder management. So stakeholder management actually helps in managing the stakeholders. So when we establish a clear communication between the stakeholder groups, then it is a successful aspect. So stakeholders have to be managed. They have to be fostered certain trust and transparency so that they get involved. And how we can do it as project managers? By giving certain regular updates or about many engagements that are related to uh, that aspect. So how stakeholders can be managed? It can manage only when we have it aligns with their expectations. So our goals and deliverables have to be clearly aligned to those aspects. So always encouraging the stakeholders to collaborate and bring in decisions and then work on it. Uh, every project has to manage these stakeholders. So again, there is a division here wherein in the inner circle, we have the project manager, the project sponsor, and the team. And then uh, at as we go ahead, like how we can control and partake in this stakeholder analysis has to be, it would be clearly defined even more in the live as. And we understand that humans are challenging. So when they are challenging, it's important to see how and when can things be rectified and so that all work together. So this is said to be as a very famous team building process wherein it creates an atmosphere for the team to work. So, and understanding the different stages and accordingly how we can address them is something very unique. So it's forming, norming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So we will discuss about this in detail in our sessions. Then here comes this agile and water flow. Water flow is a very steady one, wherein it has discipline steps that have to be followed. However, because it is quite challenging, now we sometimes jump onto the agile platform as well. So in this waterfall, there already there is some planning that is set up, and each step is defined clearly. So according to the plan, they have to work so that there are no much changes. And once it is done, the project manager can uh, come in and close this process. But agile is said to be as a continuous cycle. Uh, it has a lot of collaborative teams which uh, are ready or they are trained to bring in a new methodology or anything new. They are ready. They're ready to take risk and see that they evolve as quick as possible. So that is the reason, like most of the companies now talk about agile methodology to work on projects. But now there is a new aspect that has come in, and that is the hybrid model, wherein it is a combination of both agile and waterfall, because there are advantages for waterfall, there are advantages for agile. So taking the advantages of both of these models and then building up or customize the project according to our needs can definitely help and see that they complete the project on time. So all our efforts that we are doing right now is to see how we can manage the projects. So that is about the initial project management things that need to be known. Now the project management landscape has evolved, and there is AI, there is automation, there are agile and waterfall methodologies. So how we address all of these is something that we need to understand, because the world is changing. There is a lot of uh, uh, complete turnaround or something new that has come up. So we need to work in this space. So AI, when we talk about this hyper automation, it handles this predictive analysis, the routine tasks, the risk modeling. How, as project managers, how are we going to work on to build on this strategic leadership? This is something that we need to understand. These are the key drivers of change. Then we right now we look into this hybrid and remote work, wherein there are teams which are global, there are asynchronous teams, and there are a lot of new collaborative models. They are very demanding, and they are digitalized. So our focus projects are always judged on this time delivery, on time delivery. Then this is one big challenge, but it's not only that, it also has to generate business. There should be a return on investment that needs to be generated. Otherwise, there is no meaning in we working on projects. So projects are run by organizations that are led by projects. So we call them as management by projects. So many companies adapt this principle of managing uh, by projects, so that it brings in the adaptability to the increased complexity and volatility. So there is a lot of agility that is needed. And many aspects how this AI is automated, the AI driven automation is working out in 2025. So advantages are there. At the same time, there are also challenges. Addressing them and seeing that we are relevant on both aspects would help us to uh, survive in this kind of a situation. So things keep changing. The technology has come in, and we have different methodologies, and as human beings we have a different role to play. We are not going to uh, become succumbed with AI, but rather we are going to empower ourselves on this aspect, wherein we try to work on our soft skills, on our emotional intelligence and well-being. So as project managers, we need to understand the professionalism of how projects are being worked. So to handle these AI tools, okay, we need some software, and that software should sync with what we desire. So if you bring in a new software, completely new, and we do not understand how it works, then could be challenging. So when there is an analysis that is done, so almost like 77% of the high performing projects, they are using this management software. Only a few are still not using it, because the uncertainty levels are really high. So that is the reason these aspects are looked into. And when we are using a project management software, we need to see whether they sync with whatever project that we have. it's not that about a popular software that has to be adapted, but it should sync with the project. And the source, need to understand the source, resources, time, and money when we are, because software, the project management software is quite expensive. And do we need to invest it? How much of usage is being done needs to be clarified. So as a PMI, the project manager, uh, we need to be relevant. Okay. And we need to see how this real world applications can reflect. And when we are dealing with certain software development teams, and they have this agile sprints, uh, how we are going to manage the whole project as such is something that needs to be understood. So we will be discussing on these aspects as you join the program. Meantime, the softwares that are very popular or sometimes used according to the requirement. So a few of them I am reflecting, and then decision can be taken on what software has to be implemented. So we have desktop programs, mobile applications, web-based applications, visual tools, uh, then the single user programmable systems, personal applications, and all these collaborative programs. So based on the different requirement of the software, only then we need to take a decision. So how we are going to take it, this is the 5 tips, best way of understanding and taking up the project management software. So 5 points that we consider: it has to be easy to use, and it needs to make uh, it makes to manage the task. Then we should have effective communication as well, and good visual dashboards like the Kanban board that I just reflected. There are many other visual boards that can be worked on to see uh, all of this. Do they need a software? What is the user interface? So these questions have to be answered or realized. So I'll quickly reflect on a few of the project management tools. I'm afraid we just have 8 to 10 minutes. So maybe I will quickly run through certain projects of software tools that can be used. And they are very effective uh, softwares and very easily adaptable ones, like uh, using it with a mobile and being customized interface, so that it can be user friendly and it can be accessible everywhere. So first one is Asana, and this is how the dashboard looks, and that which we can customize with our features that are needed. So we need to create a new page and then start creating as per our needs. Asana also has certain shortcomings. Uh, at some point of time, it cannot work. So asana would start late. So during initiation stage, uh, they do not have much documents to edit and feature. And the same problem would also arise in during execution because of lack of documentations. But they are, when you analyze the shortcomings and the benefits are really good. So I recommend personally for you all to understand these softwares, and that would be addressed uh, in our sessions very surely on how you're going to work. So in our advanced program, we are going to teach you uh, the monday.com and Jira. So many softwares that can be utilized in any of those uh, organizations that you are working. Even Basecamp is used for it has access for mobile usage, and it keeps an easy track on what are the reminders that have to be reminded. And they just have a wonderful software which helps us to upload the documents easily. So even Basecamp has certain software. Jira is something very, very useful, and it tries to address many aspects of how we are capable to work on this software. So I'm just giving you an outline. You have to join the program to learn Jira, and you have to be part of it so that you can explore on these different softwares that we have. Then there is Trello. Here, even this interface is customized, and or it should the tasks that are assigned and they are tracked is quite handy. So any one of the softwares, all of these softwares are expensive. So any one of them should be addressed and then accordingly can be worked. So then we have Rike, then we have a project uh, MPP, which is the Microsoft projects. So this is also which has been developed by software. It helps the project manager to plan, to assign the resources, and to track the progress, how we are going to manage. Each and every aspect would be covered in this software. So this is said to be as one of the popular softwares to manage projects. Ultimately, we need to be cyber resilient. Okay, this is very important because we have no choice. We have to be part of this program, and we need to be part of being resilient in challenges that we have to focus, because ultimately AI, the cyber, and all of these are going to come and settle, and they are being part of our regular daily life. So how we are prepared, especially when we are talking about the cyber resilience, we talk about projects. In projects, uh, that ability to be prepared, to withstand, and to recover from is something crucial. And this resilience would help us to adapt to this kind of threats so that there is minimum disruption. So why do we need to understand this cyber resilience? Is maybe because of we depending more on the digital tools. So when we are relying on the digital tools like the cloud AI, automation, and other things, we also need to be stable. So we also would like to look into how the regulatories are growing, the client demands are growing, and the risk from remote or hybrid work. Now there is more, uh, we can say that there is more accessibility to the information, and we can work on it. So we need to be cyber resilient. And how we are going to build it? It is about rebuilding it: preparation, protection, detection, then response and recovery. So these are the core elements so that we can build on the cyber resilience. So as project managers, we need to be prepared. We need to be ready for any checks. Then also these platforms have to be protected, and there should be continuous monitoring by adding on this audit logs and alerts. Then instant response is also required. And ultimately, when things are going bad, slowly how we recover back, and how we work on this lessons learned is something that needs to be noted, and as a PM needs to be addressed. So best practices for project managers is to embed security in the charters, align with the frameworks, then try to simulate the incidents in risk workshops, and then track the resilience. That we have to build the KPIs and accordingly work. These could be the best practices for the project manager. So after we work, we said the last thing is closure. Closure is also crucial because we have to close a project based on all the softwares, and to understand the technicalities. We work and see that the project is back on track. It's trying to reach its goal. And once the project is completed, these are certain steps that we have to be followed so that we say that the project is completed. So need to plan, document, then bring in actually we have to pull the project plan and the charter, and then see that everything is updated and it is completed. And once the documents are ready, we are going to archive those documents, save the documents so that they are useful for the future. Then we bring in this uh, any legal cases or pending have to be closed. If the project has to be closed, there's nothing that needs to be hanging around. So the banks have to close their accounts. The legal uh, department also should be completely closed. Then in case if there are any administrative resources, even that have to be closed. So the team has to be given their appraisals and suggestions and how they're going to develop. And ultimately, the team also should be prepared to say that they have contributed and it was really a wonderful experience. And any corrective actions that they have should be addressed, and it has to be completed and need to address the lessons learned as well. And once the steering committee, the auditors, and everybody clears, only then there is a sign off of the document. And anything that is still, sometimes the AMCs, sometimes there will be certain insurances. All of them cannot be closed, but we will give certain dates to see that they are completed. There is post implementation plan as well that we would work and do it. So this is the closure of the project, and an overview on how the project management is now AI empowered, and it is being transformed at every stage, the planning stage, the execution stage, the delivery or the closure stage, everywhere we have to address the AI and what is the real world flexibilities that we have, and how working with the remote team or the hybrid team, how we collaborate those techniques. And being cyber resilient is something that we need to definitely focus on. Then comes later all the sustainability, ethics, and other aspects, which we are going to discuss all of these in our program. So I personally recommend and advise all of you all who have joined this program to utilize this facility wherein if you join in this program, we would be trying to address all of these points in detail and try to cover. As a project manager, we are going to bring in that transformation. See that how, as a person, you are transformed and you are going to become a leader, a very effective leader, a thought provoking leader, a conscious leader. It's not just a normal leader or a project manager, but you need to have all of these qualities. And as data and as AI, these help us to take better decisions rather than we being worried about are we going to exist with the jobs. It is about how we empower ourselves and master this program. So it's the question hour time, but yeah, we are beyond. So I see there are a few questions which can be answered, uh, and there are certainly the presentation would be shared by the team, and all of this would uh, be answered later. But thank you for joining in. I wish you all the best, and I would love to see you all enrolled into this program and empower yourself with uh, these skills, which are life skills, which will take you along for a very long, long way to go. All the best. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.